if you see something that you want to do, you should just put yourself out there, and, maybe it won't work, but it's not like it's going to take that much time to just, express your interest and say, I think I'd be a good fit. Here's why I'd love to do this. Maybe no one is reaching out because they all think, they're not going to want me. They have too many people applying already, but maybe they don't have that many people because people aren't taking that risk. This is Elena Hirsch, and you're tuned in to the ZHZ Podcast.
Elena, how many podcasts have you done before?
Well, the funny thing is, I've done, I think, one, but it never came out, and it was like a friend, well, not a friend, it was somebody who had been following me for a while, was like, I really want to talk to you and do a podcast episode, and we were on the phone for a nice long while, and this is over a year. This is like a year and a half ago, and my friend and I have been like messaging him like, hey, is this ever coming out? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was a stalker move right there, man. That was like, hey, I can get her in, but say, hey, I want you to be on my podcast.
Like, there's no podcast. Like, what? But yeah, so this is
funny.
like my first
Fake
podcast that will hopefully air.
No, it will air.
It should air.
Yeah.
It better air.
I was going to ask
Hopefully.
you too, how did you hear about us?
Yeah, so I was like, I always have this like giant list of like venues and places that I'd like to do shows at, and then I thought, you know what? Let me start looking into some other opportunities for, sharing my music and my story and all that kind of stuff. So I looked up music, podcast music, magazines, like all sorts of things. And when I came across this, I was like, this is kind of interesting because I'm not really seeing many different places that are really focused on like sharing an artist's story. I feel like I'm seeing more stuff like, oh, here are some songs that we like, or here is the pop culture, like here is what's going on with these big artists. But like small artists are not really getting these kind of opportunities, I feel like. And when I felt really interested, so I'm like, let me add this in the list. And
I feel honored. I'm on a list.
Yeah.
Come in. Thank you for adding this to your list. That's awesome. No, it's just funny because it seems like we've been doing this for a couple years now, and it just feels like just in the last month or so, people are finding us somehow, or the algorithm or whatever saying, hey, you might be interested in this. And so I
think we've been really fortunate in that, like yourself, indie artists are looking for platforms where they can, talk about their music, talk about their stuff, and it just happened to come at a time where Zach and I had consciously was like, all right, let's kind of pump the brakes a little bit on the podcast because the things with the band, we play in a band together, and the things are kind of getting a little bit busier for us on the band side of things, and so let's balance it out. And as soon as we said, all right, let's dial back a little bit on the podcast, all of a sudden we're getting hit up by other artists out there from across the country. And that's the cool thing, is that it's like these couple of middle-aged chumps from Utah, and we're getting, as we're on with you, and we got Detroit hitting us up, we got New York hitting us up, we got it's Mississippi. It's so rad, it's so cool, but it really is. Because you're absolutely right. There's lots of places if you're a huge artist, and there's huge shows that you can go on, but we really need to really dial things in for the indie artists, and giving indie artists like yourself a platform to talk and hopefully be seen by our tens of fans and followers is fantastic. But it's also it's great because we get turned on and to musicians that we hadn't heard before. And
that's just by osmosis, like just by proxy, you start getting involved in the scenes for sure. So speaking of, for those of you our viewers, tell us a little bit about Elena. For people meeting you for the first time in 30 seconds, explain who you are and what kind of music you do.
All right. Well, I would say I'm a pop artist. I like to take inspiration from other genres. I would say, dance, R&B, and I write my own songs. I produce tracks, but lately I've been having my friend producing tracks for me because they definitely sound better than what I can do. But yeah, usually a dance pop type of style. And I just recently formed a new band, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, so I'm playing with a band now.
Nice. What
Yeah,
kind of music?
and
What kind of band is that?
So right now, it's basically just, we're calling it Elena Hirsch Band because we're just doing like my originals and then some covers. But we're starting to think about if we want to write music together. And it's kind of cool because it gives it a different type of sound because since we, have the band instruments, it's not really sounding as much pop as like my music I'm putting out. But the cool thing is our show tomorrow, fingers crossed, because we're going to try and hope that it works, but we're going to try and do tracks and band, like for some of the songs. Some of them are just the band. But yeah, so that's giving more like, I wouldn't say rock, but kind of more of an edge to rock and different genres.
Well, it has guitar and stuff.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
How many members are in the band?
Right now we have 4, but we were thinking maybe for bigger opportunities, we might have a second guitar. So one of them can do chords, one can do melody, but probably just 4.
Right.
You can always add a horn section.
Yeah. So
I'm open to any instruments I want to play with us.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow you have a huge show. Like you're going to be opening up for Morgan St. Jean.
Morgan St. Jean. And
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, it's
I would
really
be so
exciting.
Stoked. I don't know how you're going to sleep tonight.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, well, there's a lot of crazy things about this, but I think the craziest one is that I found out about this about a week ago. It was last Tuesday. And at that point, I had a show coming up Saturday that just passed. And I hadn't really started, maybe I shouldn't admit this, but I hadn't really started preparing for that one because I don't need as much time because it was a solo show. And I'm like, I generally know, my repertoire I want to add in. I like to switch it up every show that I do. So I was like, I'll add in maybe like 6 new things, but that will be pretty simple. I don't need more than a week. But then I was like, okay, now I have to prepare an actual set for an actual important show. I mean, all the shows are important, but like a show that's like people are going to be engaged because the show I had on Saturday, this is one of my favorite places to play. It's a coffee shop. So people are there to drink their coffee and have background music. So if I'm like kind of screwing up, no one's gonna really know because they're not paying that much attention. Obviously, I try my best to, not screw up anyway.
Right.
But yeah, like this one, the people are there for a concert.
Yeah, exactly. They paid money to see you play.
Yeah.
And so Morgan St. Jean. But yeah, that is congratulations. How did that
Thank you.
How did that come about?
So this is also kind of funny. So right about the time when I submitted for the podcast, the other thing I decided to add instead of just venues, I was like, I want to see who's performing around me at small venues that has a similar type of style to me, and I want to just put myself out there. And so I sent an email and I said, I think that our sounds go really well together. I think our audience would complement each other. Here's my recent performance on the news. Here's my band playing at our recent gig. Let me know if you're looking for a local opener or collaboration because I'd be very interested in this. I didn't hear back. And then I followed up like 2 weeks later because I was like, I'm not a quitter. And then didn't hear back again. And then I got a DM on Instagram that was like, are you still available to open for Morgan St. Jean? And this was from like people who
booking agency.
Yeah. So
I'm like, the venue that was the venue. Okay. So you pitched the email to Morgan's booking firm or booking agency, and they
just sent it to like her email address on her YouTube channel. It just like was like her name and Gmail
but
account.
I'm sure. If she's touring a lot or whatever, then they usually have some sort of a team,
Yeah.
But then so you send it to this is important stuff, guys, because this is how you do it. So then you pitched to the booking agency. They didn't respond back, which is pretty common. But then you actually got a DM from the venue. So the venue was scouting out acts and hit you up. So that's pretty interesting, actually. That's how you got.
Surprised.
That's cool.
That is so.
Yeah, when I saw that, I screamed. Yeah,
I bet. It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Now I'm gonna lose my voice before the show because I screamed so loud. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So and just to let you know, our band also we have a 7-piece band, and we also because we're like a ska reggae, so full production thing, but we also use backing tracks as well. And so we have a click track, so we're all in time and.
Yeah.
And so you
really
can,
helpful.
I'm just letting you know, you can do it. It's a lot easier when you have in-ear monitors instead of like floor monitors, but it can be done.
The in-ear monitors are a game changer. They're
Yeah.
and plus I feel so fancy. But you know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but
I
but
need
it
that.
is really cool, and you know, it especially as a horn player and a singer. One of the things about, you know, playing live is that you tend to strain and overplay or oversing because
You can't hear yourself.
hear yourself.
Right.
Mhm.
And so the in-ear monitors really help to be able to, you know, every member, like, I mean, it's all fancy. Every member, you can dial in on their smart device, and it's a little closed circuit Wi-Fi signal, and every member controls their own mix in their own monitor. So
Yeah,
like for me, I can have me and Zach, and I can have my trombone player and, you know, the bass. The drums are always loud, but I'll get some kick in there, and we get to control what we're hearing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really helpful because
It is.
I think my group's like we've actually only done one show as a group so far, and it was difficult. Like my guitar, so we had before we actually settled on a guitar, we were having some issues, and then eventually it ended up. I just said to my boyfriend, I'm like, I know you want to get back into guitar. Do you think you'd be able to like learn a set by this day? And he's like, I'll try. And he did really well, but he couldn't. We listened back to the videos. We couldn't even hear him at all
Right.
because he was like, I couldn't hear myself, but it's probably in the audience. But yeah, and then we were all going like really fast, and I was like, oh, this is we need the monitors.
That's
like,
just experience, you know. Like I remember, like our old band, our drum, like this. That's the other good thing about a click track, is that it forces your drummer to stay with the tempo. Because our other band before that, we used floor monitors or whatever, and it was, I swear, he would like do a line of coke before he got on, because he just, you know, like,
Well, and we'd all
so
get out.
fast. I'm like, I can't handle this, man.
The funny
So-
thing is that I have, you know, when I'm amped up and the vibe is there and everything, I tend to rush and everything too. And I think it's just we would feed off of each other. So I'd start, you know, ripping off a horn line, and I'd be playing it a little fast, and he'd get faster, and it'd be like, by the time we get done, it's like, wow, we finished that 4-minute song in a minute and a half, man. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
It's so,
tight.
and that's just you'll get better with experience the more you.
But
do it.
I think it's really an interesting concept for you right now, as far as adding, you know, the full band aspect to it, because, you know, and I kind of see it going one of two ways. Either you kind of mesh it all together, you know, or you say, okay, this is the stuff that I'm going to do with the band, and then I'm going to preserve my solo stuff so that it's kind of the pure dance pop that I've been doing. Because I think that you're really good at that. Yeah, I mean, it's
Thanks.
listening to your tracks, it's like, man, that is fantastic, and I'm totally amped to hear what you do with the evolution of having a full band and everything. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on as your career kind of progresses and evolves. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I think like it's been something I've wanted for so long. So when I was in school, I booked a show at this place out in Miami. They told me I need a band to play there. And so I was just like, yeah, I'll get a band, don't worry. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get a band. So I was able to get a band for that performance, but it was just like they agreed for this performance and that's
Right.
all. But
They're guns,
since I was
hired
leaving
guns.
soon anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, I would want a band in Michigan anyway. So about a year before I formed this new one, I made these Facebook posts and I found a whole band. Everyone was on board. They all seemed really excited about it. And then the day before we were supposed to meet up, the drummer, who was actually like, ironically, the one that was like the most like, let's go, this is going to be awesome. But he's like,
Blake.
I can't make it tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. But like next time, could you let me know a little further in advance? And then he just like freaked out and he's like, this is too much for me. I didn't realize it was going to be
Yeah.
so strict. I was
Typical
like, what?
flip band. That's drummer
Strict.
flakes.
But you know what? Honestly, he did
It's
you
like-
a favor. He did you a
Yeah.
favor, because
yeah.
if that is so strict, you mean showing up to rehearsal? That's like that's like having a job and saying, I didn't know it was going to be this strict. They expect me to be
Right.
there on time when I'm scheduled to work. It's like one of the
Exactly.
most basic
Yeah, exactly.
basic tenets of being in a band.
Correct.
Show up for
Yeah.
rehearsal on
Correct.
time.
And
Yeah.
you're gonna find those people. Or like my advice when you're going through that, repertoire of different musicians you're auditioning for is look for the ones that don't not necessarily have the skills per se but they have the passion. So like, because you can always learn a skill. Like maybe they don't have all the songs down, or they're like, if they got to have some skill, they can't just completely not play an instrument. But if it was just a matter of like, okay, well, I know their heart is in it, then that's good, because you can get musicians that come in and audition and they're excellent musicians, and you're like, and then they're the ones that flake out the first chance they get a new call, somebody like, hey, you want to join my band, and then they bounce. And you'll go through that with bands, especially like, I mean, all of our band members are all like, except for one guy, we're all in like our late 40s, 50s, so we've all been through the ringer on that. But you'll find the right
It's been
crew.
really, and I don't even want to jinx anything, but it was a long process, because after the drummer did that, then I texted the rest of them. I'm like, do you guys still want to be in the band? Not a single person responded. And so I gave up for like a year. I was like, whatever, I'm just doing solo. Like, I'm good at that anyway. I don't need to get a band. But there were so many different opportunities that I wanted that I knew I wouldn't be able to have without a band, or it would be way easier with a band. So I tried it again. And like I said, this guitar thing was tricky, because no one was reaching out about guitar, which I was shocked, because I would think that that's one of the more
the
common
dime a
ones.
dozen instrument.
So I was really surprised to not hear anything. So I asked this guy from my work, because he was there because I do music lessons, and he was a guitar teacher there, and he was talking with me the year before about my situation. And I was like, remember when I was doing that? Is there any chance you'd want to join, at least to record some videos? Because, I don't need anyone to commit to the band yet, but I just want to have videos with a band, so I can start reaching out to venues and be like, band. But he agreed to it. And this is not his fault at all, but it was just a crazy story to me. He messages as I'm getting in my car. I have like this whole cute outfit on. I'm ready to go. And I get a text, and he's like, my girlfriend just fell off a skateboard and is going to the emergency room, and I can't make it to rehearsal. And I was like, what kind of crazy? So
perseverance. I love this story. Like you're
and then
you're getting hit with everything,
crazier.
and you're still doing it. So
yeah, and I go over to the bassist's house, who's the current bassist, and I'm saying, like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're out of guitar. Do you know anyone? So he calls a couple people, and this guy he used to be in a band with, he comes over, and we record some videos, and things are going great. Then I find out, I mean, this didn't really affect anything, but then I figure out that both of these guys, the bass and guitar, used to be in a band with this guy that I used to go out with. And I was like, no way, this guy's gonna think I stole his band. So
nice. Good job.
Yeah, I'm freaking out. I'm like, this would have been pretty sick if I thought of it. I didn't even realize.
Right.
You know what? This is going to be one hell of an episode of Behind the Music on VH1 someday.
You're right. Exactly. So
yeah, like telling the story of the band.
But that is so cool. I mean, that's the thing, man. Is it like, as you go along, these are the stories that build like the lore and the history of the struggle of putting a band together, and the weird little coincidences and stuff like that. And I would say, to kind of riff on what Zach was saying, that, it's not always necessarily about the player that has the tightest skills or is the most accomplished player. It's so much of it is about the chemistry that you have among yourselves, how willing to match each other's dedication level. Because, if you have three of you that are like all in, and you're, religious about it, and you have one that's like, oh, well, this or that, or is always late, or is kind of like always flaking last minute and everything, it's like, it affects everything as a whole. Yeah. Obviously, you can't control when a girlfriend falls off a skateboard and has to go to the emergency room.
I know. Yeah. It's just, well, and then life, obviously life just slaps you in the face constantly, but I love your tenacity. So there's some lessons definitely to be learned with Elena's story here. So you have a new release. I don't know when did this Irresistible come out? Is it fairly recent?
This came out last month. And
okay, so brand new, pretty much.
Yeah, this was a real tight, from the time that I decided I'm putting it out to actually like recording it and getting it out. it was really fast, because the other thing that happened with even quicker turnaround than the Morgan St. Jean show was when I found out that I could be on the news, live in the D for
Yes,
Detroit
I saw
News.
that clip. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I was just watching that this afternoon. So is that like a morning show?
Midday.
I'm not remembering when it airs. I know we filmed around 1, but it wasn't live. It came out a few days after. So
okay, well that's cool then, because it's like, man, I see so many times it's like you can't expect musicians to be up and ready to play a tight set at 7:30 in the morning.
It was thankfully in the afternoon, and I think that's also when it aired. I think it aired around the same time that I recorded it. But I found out 1 week, they said, can you come in 1 week from today? And of course I said yes, but I really wanted to release a new song before I went on to the news so that I could talk about it.
Right, you could pump it up.
And so at this point, I had written it. My friend who produces stuff, he had made a track. Well, this was actually not even a track that he had made for me, but he just had it. And I had sent him, not even for Irresistible, but I had sent this other artist track, and I'm like, it'd be really cool if we did something like this, like more dancey. He's like, I think I have a track that kind of sounds like that. What do you think? And I listened to it. I was like, this is amazing. And I really feel like it fits this idea I had for this song called Irresistible. And so I kind of wrote to that. I top-lined it. I already had some of the lyrics, but I didn't have a full song until I heard that instrumental and I wrote over it. But at this point, I'm like, okay, so you remember how we were working on this song? Because this was months back. And I was like, is there any chance if I can record some vocals, would we be able to get it out before like I go on the news? And thankfully, he was willing to do that. And this was another example of my boyfriend coming in clutch, because not only he joined the band as the guitarist after he hadn't played in years, and so he like learned the whole set. He bought like a new guitar and an amp and pedals, and
he had to buy new stuff. That's so funny. He's like,
he's
I'll be
really
right
dedicated.
I gotta go to the music shop.
He also
there.
bought a new, and this was also for himself. It's not like he got this just for me, but bought, like, when I told him, I'm like, oh, I really want to record Irresistible. I just don't know where I'm going to do it. I don't really want to pay for a studio, but if I do it on my laptop, it's not going to sound really good. And he had told me he had a surprise for me. And usually I think that would mean food, but I'm like, I know it's not food because we are already going out to eat this weekend. And so
right.
Yeah, that's literally like, that's my favorite kind of surprise. But it turned out it was a new microphone, and I was like, no way. So we recorded the vocals like just in his living room type of area, and I sent it over to the producer, and he was able to like mix it super quick. And I was just like, I'm just putting it out because I felt like, how could I, pass up on the opportunity to promote a new song on the news when,
Well, so and it's funny because usually I try to advise musicians to put it, like, submit it for like DistroKid or whatever you're using for your distribution service, to do it like 6 to 8 weeks in advance, like the longer, because you can do pitches to Spotify and stuff like that.
True.
But in your case, it's different because you were trying to push it out in time for a live TV. So I mean, to me that would make sense. I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, how soon can I get this out? Make it available, at the very least, make it available on SoundCloud. And then you would just say something like, well, it's not going to hit all of the DSPs, but if you go to my SoundCloud or my link in bio, you can listen to it that way. But awesome. And I love the song. It's definitely danceable. It's like, I listen to your catalog, and I love it because when I listen to the first song and the second, like, so I usually listen to like, whatever you're promoting, and then I kind of go back in time, and I love the progression. Like, there's like, you can tell there's a performance progression, there's a writing progression, there's like, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And when I heard Irresistible, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. So
thank you.
Congratulations. So yeah. So how's that been received so far, since it's been a month now, you said?
Yeah, about. And it is going really well because I usually don't get any listeners really, but I looked, like, when I checked after like a week or something, Irresistible had more streams than all of my other songs combined times like 2 or 3. And I was like, whoa. I know it's because, so I have this one fan, and she sent me her recent listen. She listened to it like 50 times or something, and not even like just putting it in the background. Like she's literally just like that. She's like, I can't stop. It's so good. And she sent me, it was so cool. It was me, Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, her top 3 artists. I was like, this is the company I want to be in.
Yeah, that is just that's you need to get a cape for her because she's your super fan.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
literally. I said I can guarantee that you are the most streaming of the song.
Right.
Like there's no way anyone is beating that.
Yeah. No, she's kudos to her. We have a guy that was actually a part of my old band, and he's our #1 fan with our band Z Frequency, and
That's
every
awesome.
time like on Facebook or like here's your dedicated most engaged fans, his is like always at the top of the list. Except for he got bumped down one, and he was like,
no.
oh hell no.
Yeah, he's like,
that's
"Get me back up."
Yeah, that's gotta change. It was pretty funny. So
Yeah.
that track, it was kind of collaborated with your producer, right? So
Yeah.
between the two of you guys and put that out. So are you doing any sort of marketing on the side? I know we're going to talk a little bit about, also you do a lot of live stuff, like you do live streaming and on Discord. Is it Discord or TikTok or?
I stream on TikTok and YouTube, but we have a Discord server, so sometimes we'll do live events in there. Like, there's this game that I really like. It's called Really Boring Game, which is a bad name for it because it's really fun. But we like to play that, and we'll do like watch parties and different stuff like that. I haven't been as good at that recently. The last thing we did was a watch party of my thing on the news, but that's not like that fun of an event.
No,
but
it's still cool
I've done
though.
some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when you do the live stream, because this is like this podcast, we've tried to do live streams and we still like continue like, oh, we need to do a live stream, and it's not very good. Like nothing works out right. But so you mainly do YouTube and you said TikTok. Do you stream multicast like through some sort of a service, or do you do different, like you alternate, like, hey, we're doing TikTok this week, next week we're doing YouTube? Or
I do them at the same time, but like in a weird way. So this is my setup. So like if my computer, okay, I'm trying to think how to show this. So like this tissue box, this will be my computer.
Okay.
And then I'll be like looking at the computer, and the computer has my OBS on one side, which is I put like a thing on top that's like sub goal, please subscribe, and
ticker,
put your request
ticker,
in the chat.
Tagline,
Yeah, and it's got
whatever
my
they call
socials
it.
at the
Third,
bottom.
lower third.
And then on the other side, I have the actual, or in the middle, I have the actual chat so I can see what people are saying and respond to them. And then on the right side, I have the chords for whatever songs I'm playing and like the chords and lyrics. And then right here at the bottom of the computer is my phone streaming the TikTok. So it's like,
so you're using 2 devices. That's
yeah,
awesome.
so I have like 3 things on the laptop and then my phone. So I have to keep up with the TikTok chat, the YouTube chat, and everything, which right now is really easy because nobody is joining. But there used to be times where like it would be going crazy. Like I think this is actually before I figured out how to do them at the same time. So I think at this point it wasn't as hard because it would just be like the TikTok chat. But I was getting like, there would be 100 concurrent viewers at a time, and now I get lucky if I get 10 concurrent viewers.
Yeah.
So that started with the TikTok ban, which I don't even know if they actually banned it because I feel like, I don't know. But
they did for like that day. I know it was like one day, but here's the thing. Like I also used editing video, CapCut. So CapCut is owned by the same people as TikTok. So when they banned TikTok for one day, they took all of their, and then I think Lemonade was another one. There's like several different companies that was like,
I've heard of that.
They all went out. They all went down, and TikTok got brought back the next day, but CapCut hadn't. And it was like, I don't know, it was like a week or 2 weeks or something. I was pissed because I had paid for like a premium. I'm like, wait a minute, guys, so they finally came back. But it's crazy. Like, yeah, that's why super fans are important.
Quick intermission, folks. We've curated a Spotify playlist called The Guest List, showcasing the incredible artists who grace our show with their talent and stories. Dive deeper into their music. Plus, discover exclusive tracks by Z Frequency. Click the link in the description or search for The Guest List on Spotify. Enjoy, and back to the show.
That's why. Do you have a mailing list? Do you do like email marketing at all, or newsletters?
I don't. Like there's like some things that are like more, like I did actually just make a form where people put like what cities they'd be able to see me in, and they put different ways that they would support me and like stuff like that, and how I can connect with them and stuff like that. So that's kind of helpful. So we shared it to a lot of people that are in the Discord, because that's kind of the top type of people. And then I also have a TikTok subscription, which not that many people have ever signed up for it, but that would
Yet.
give people
Not
like
yet.
more exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't really been like doing much with it, so I need to kind of get back into that, because that was pretty cool. Like I could do sub only lives and just chat with them, and I would give them like theme nights. So instead of me just taking song requests, I would do like they could send me however many songs that they like to listen to, and I would just play those songs. So I did one of my subscribers, I did like on her birthday, and I did quite a lot. So she sent me a bunch of playlists that she listens, and she's like, choose anything from these. And so I made a pretty decent set list for her, which was fun.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I was just, the only reason why I even brought it up was because, like it's situations like TikTok where all of a sudden one day it's there and the next day it's just gone. If you have an email address, as boring as that is and as ancient as that tech is, it's still one of the most effective ways to connect directly to your fans. And I think that's important, especially like our band right now. Like that's my biggest goal. I'm not concerned about Spotify streams, even though it's nice when it happens and makes you feel good. And, it's kind of like those vanity metrics, but I'm more interested in being able to have an open line to people that are interested in the band, like interested in Elena Hirsch personally, and where they could email you and you would email them back, and so if TikTok disappeared, you still got your fan, you still have a way to communicate,
I actually just made probably a week ago, I finally made a website, and so I do have my music email on there and a contact form. So people have not contacted based on the website yet, but if people start,
if you ask, they will though.
Yeah, and I have this board. Wait, I wish I had it up here. I think it's in the car. I want to show a picture because it's really cool. But
you can show it to the camera and we'll see if we can see it.
Yeah, hopefully it will work. But I really like how it turned out. I actually just changed it because the QR code expired. But originally it was to my link tree, but now that I have the website, I got a new one for the website. But yeah, it's got this, and
cool.
It's been it's been helpful. I got a couple people Venmo'd me, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
No,
that's
followers.
That's the way you do it. I have this thing that I'm always scheming with the band stuff, and one of the things I have is a QR code, and it's like a little flyer, and it's called for live fans only. And if they scan that QR code, it asks for their email address and their name, and it puts them in for an automatic drawing to win free merch. So at the end of the night, I'll give away a t-shirt or whatever in a drawing. But the other thing they get is a live recording of that show that they're attending. So because we record all of our stuff, so they can get a live recording of it. And even if they're already on our mailing list, I encourage them put in for this, because you can get a live, we'll send you a live recording of it for the show you're actually at tonight, and you get put in for a drawing for a t-shirt. So, and we got 5 names, I think, from our first performance, but it'll grow. I think the more the more we play, and the more people hey, you want to make sure you got to scan this code wherever they're at. You got to find it. At least do that. So.
Well, and it's just all about ways to make yourself memorable to people,
Correct,
because, in a world of so much noise, I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of new songs are uploaded to Spotify every day?
Yeah.
It's about those personal connections with fans, and, giving them, something that they can't get anywhere else. And that connection with them, building a kind of a grassroots fan base, just one fan at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have a big opportunity, how long is your set tomorrow?
We got half an hour. Hopefully, They said we might have to end 5 minutes early, but they said we could start 5 minutes early. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that, because I don't want to.
Are you the first act up?
Yeah. So there's 2 half-hour openers, and then I don't know how long the main act is, but I mean, it's pretty 30 minutes. We can get a good amount of stuff in, and we got a bunch of originals. I actually have a really fun idea. We're doing, since in my streams, I obviously take song requests, so I thought I can kind of tie that into the live performance and give the audience a choice. So we're preparing 2 covers and letting the audience decide which one they want us to play.
Awesome. That's awesome. See, and I was going to say, you might, obviously, when you're the opening act, you're getting people coming in. You're gonna have a smaller group, but those guys are usually you're gonna be able to talk more intimately with them, right? Because you can look at almost all the faces in the room, and that's the one. That's where you want to get that your board or whatever it is. Make sure you plug that board, like put it on the edge of the stage where they can access it, and you're gonna get some fans that way.
Yeah,
I'm excited for you, Elena. That's just so cool.
Excited.
Like that's kind of like for us, like I gave up hopes of like big dreams, like for me it was like, if we could open up for touring acts once in a while, some of our favorite bands, like that, to me that would be like making it big, if you will. I would be pretty content with that in my music career. We've been doing it for a long time. Like we started in 1991, so it's been
Zach and I started our
35 years.
35 years ago this summer.
35 years ago.
30 back before the turn of the century in the 1900s.
Yeah. Our first song was a pop song. It was it's funny.
Super pop.
Anyway, what do you got coming up after? Obviously, by the time I was gonna I could post a link for tickets for your show tomorrow, but by the time this comes out, it'll be weeks in the past, But so what's next past Irresistible? Like what's the 90-day plan for Elena?
We have got a lot of shows coming up, which is exciting, but also a little stressful. And there's like so many different things about it, because like since it's the summertime, we've got trips and stuff, but like after the Morgan St. Jean show, we've got a show at Aretha's Jazz Cafe in Detroit, which is exciting. And that one I also found out about the same day that I found about the Morgan show, and so then I had to like scramble to get a lineup together, and my bassist is going to be out of town, so I had to find a new bassist, and so we had a lot of stuff about that one, but fingers crossed that one goes well. And then me and my guitar and bass, the three of us went to this like open mic night about almost 2 weeks ago now, and we had such a blast. And these people that worked at the bar were like, "Can you guys play at our 4th of July house party?" And we're like, yes. So we haven't heard from them since then, so I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that would be so fun because we've never played a house party. And then July 11th, I'm doing double because I've got a morning show at the coffee shop. This is the place I have like a monthly residency at, which is really cool. Right. So every month I go in and play on the piano.
Yeah, you're like the house band.
Yeah, the house pianist. And then
house pianist.
The same day, we're going to Toledo for this grand opening for this dance studio, and we're gonna play as the band, which is cool. And then the 18th, we're playing at this place called Parts and Labor. The 24th, we're playing at a venue called the Arboretum. And then in August, I'm doing another show at the coffee shop, A Bean to Go. And then we have another opening set. There's this group, Makes My Blood Dance. And this was like a really, know if they like listened to my stuff. Because they
you're
literally,
like, you're listening to them and like, I don't know if we fit, but I'll take it.
Because they posted this thing that was like who wants to open for our show at Small's Bar, and so I just like put in my thing, not like as a joke, obviously, like I was willing to, but I was like, they're not gonna pick like a pop artist, because I mean you can hear from the name, like Makes My Blood Dance, like they were honestly more similar than I expected. I feel like it was like kind of like, I don't know how to describe them. They have cool stuff. It's not what I expected to.
That's good though.
Have me open.
Right. That's crossover though. There's going to be some fans. There's going to be some fans from them that are going to enjoy your stuff. And then there's going to be fans
so that would
from
be really cool.
Right. So you book all this stuff yourself, or do you have help?
Yeah. This is just me just randomly reaching out to places. So
you're killing it. It sounds like you're killing it. Like,
I mean, it's kind of like when, in comparison to how much I'm actually reaching out, it's a small fraction, but like, I mean, I don't need more than, like, this is a very good amount. And like, I think some people, and because like, I think it's the perfect amount where we're playing frequently, but we still have time for our jobs, because we all have jobs, especially my poor boyfriend has like he works from like 9 to 6. And so then, he doesn't have much time to do anything.
Then it's like he's got his gear in the car from work straight to the show.
Yeah, and like my job is a lot easier. Like I mean I'm feeling horrible because I'm taking off so much work for these gigs, but it's a lot easier because they can just call up another piano teacher. Hey, fill in for Elena's students today, and it's not that difficult, as long as I
Right.
give notice, which I do. But yeah, like some people are very condescending, I think. Like some people, if like today I was talking to this person who is doing better than me musically, and you know, instead of just, you know, like, I don't know, they just are very like think because they're doing more shows they're better, I guess. And it's just like a frustrating thing to like see. Like, I want to lift up if people have, you know, less followers than me, I want to be like, oh, here, let me share your music, or, you know,
It's like a
you
collab
got this
invite
kind of thing.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what?
it's like,
Screw
why-
those people. Screw those people.
yeah.
Like,
So
I get that too.
I'm
Like,
happy with what I've got.
I've actually reached out to bands too and say, hey, I think we'd be a good fit. You know, we're you know, we'd love to open or whatever. And I pitched to 4 or 5 different bands, some that never heard of us, some that were friends of ours, and no one except
Wow.
for one. We got one band that said, yeah, we'll work with you guys, and they actually have been on the show before, and
Mhm.
it's just funny how those things unfold. I wouldn't look at, like, to me that's all perspective, you know, when you say, oh well, they're further along or they're better than me. They're not. It's just
Yeah.
your perspective, you know, like, think of it like the rabbit and the hound. You know, you're the hound chasing the rabbit. They're the rabbit, and you're gonna catch up to them eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just gotta endure. That rabbit's gonna get tired eventually, and you're gonna catch it, and then you're gonna pass
Yeah.
it. So
Right.
Yeah,
but that's the
exactly.
thing
I like-
too, is I think that, you know, is the takeaway there is that, you know, when it comes to that nobody's going to care more or put more effort into promoting your stuff than you are.
Mhm.
And that, you know, you know, you mentioned it's a small fraction of the you know, the contacts that you've reached out and tried to make, but that's the thing, is that put it out there to everywhere.
Yeah.
And because the only way you're not going to land anything is if you think, oh well, they probably won't reply, so I won't bother. No, you know what? Bother. Go ahead, get it out
Yeah.
there, because the worst they're going to say is no, or just ghost you and not answer.
Yeah.
But
that's what they're really
throw it
gonna do.
all out. Throw it all
Yeah.
out there. Throw it all out there and get it. You know, get the ones that land. Boom! Hit it hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing, but you're killing it. You're killing it. I don't
Thanks. Yeah.
just from hearing what you've got planned for this summer. That's a full plate for us. You know, like, obviously
Yeah.
we all have jobs too, and we have families to feed, and like, we can't, like, you know, taking work off is sometimes harder than you think, and
Yeah.
with a 7-piece band, and logistically it can be a nightmare, you know, but we're
Yeah, for
all pretty ready to do stuff, so I think it's great. And I like,
Mhm.
in our outline, we kind of was going to go through some pain points, but we kind of just covered a bunch of stuff already. If you had advice for an independent musician, Elena, what would you say? Like, just want someone just getting started.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I even though we kind of talked about this a lot, I would really say just like the power of an email is just really, you know, people think that like things are, you know, out of the question, but they actually aren't. Like, I mean, I didn't think Morgan would answer. I didn't think that the local news would answer, but I was like, whatever, I'm just going to send it. I mean, even like for the news, I almost didn't send anything because I couldn't find any contact for music or anything like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to send it to their main line. And if there's somebody that does the music, hopefully they'll send it over. And if
Or
not,
they'll-
whatever,
yeah,
at least
they'll
I tried.
Yeah, they'll forward it
And
on
that's
to
exactly what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and I got
Nice.
an email and she said, you know, they showed me this and we'd love to have you. And so I think, and she actually is she said that to me when we met. I was like, you know, I'm really surprised and excited. I didn't expect to be here, especially so soon. She's like, yeah, the power of an email. You know, it worked out really well. We had an open spot this day and I saw your email and it was really good timing. And so, you know, I think my advice would just be, if you see something that you want to do, you should just put yourself out there. And, you know, maybe it won't work, but it's not like it's going to take that much time to just, you know, express your interest and say, I think I'd be a good fit. Here's why I'd love to do this, because people, you know, might need, and, you know, maybe no one is reaching out because they all think, you know, they're not going to want me. They have too many people applying already, but maybe they don't have that many people because people aren't taking that risk. And like,
Right.
there's, you know, this competition that I've been doing for, I don't even know how many years, like I started probably back in high school, and now I'm 23, and I am still, every year I keep going back because like I'm like there have been times where I'm like, why would I do it again? I've already tried, I didn't make it. But it's like, but I'm continuously getting better and better, so why not keep trying? And
Correct.
you know, if at least I'm putting myself out there. And they always say to me, like, you're great, but like, if you have a band. And so I'm like, guess what? I got a band. So
so
just keep trying.
you're doing that. Well, you know, and the other thing too, like with the emails and stuff, like sometimes they're not trying to ghost you. They just didn't see it. You know, like it just kind of like went through the wash with all the other 1,000 emails they got to go through. And you had mentioned here on the intake form, you just said, put yourself out there and don't be afraid of rejection. And that is really what it's all about, you know, because especially when you're pitching like that, when you're talking about email to pitching for certain things, like I'm kind of soaking in like, man, maybe I should do a lot more of that, because we're starting to get shows and stuff, but we're trying to make it within reason, you know, like this podcast is actually busier than all get out. But no, that's great. So we had a pain point resolution, and the whole point of this segment is like maybe something that you have recently like found to be cumbersome or a struggle, and then like what you've done to help tackle that issue. And we decided we're going to let you choose, like, because you mentioned 3 different things. You said growing an audience, or overwhelmed, trying to wear every hat, or inconsistent release and a promo strategy. Which one would you rather talk about if you had to only pick one to talk about real quick?
I guess probably growing an audience, and I guess kind of related to that, I think like the even bigger issue like is kind of combining the audience of like the online audience versus the live audience.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and I'd really like to get that to be kind of, I mean, obviously I don't want it to be all the same people, because I want people all across the world to hear me, but you know, I feel like I've been, you know, trying to post a ton of stuff. If you're in Metro Detroit, I've got these shows coming up. If you, you know, go to this city, I'll be playing there. Oh, this is my band and I. Come see us at this venue. And I'm like doing all this posting that is really specific and like saying where it is and when it is. But I don't really think anybody is deciding to go to the show based off of that. Yeah. And like I got a comment that on one of the videos, I said, I'm playing at a Bean to Go this morning. And then someone goes, I'm in Africa. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm
you better leave now then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the ship.
I'm like,
the ship
you're
leaves
a
at noon.
Far. Like you can make it.
Yeah. That's like,
well, that's when you say, man, it's a little bit too far to get here in time. However, make sure you join me on my TikTok live tonight. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You come in, you drop into the comments, and I will bump your request to the top of the queue.
That is something you could consider as actually, if you had a way to set up even just a basic live stream of your performance, even if it's side stage, even if nobody can really hear it, like it's just there, you know?
Yeah, I do.
That's
try
something
and
we're
stream all
trying
my
to do
shows at
too.
Least. Yeah.
I think it's great. And you're right. There is a different audience between your online audience and your live audience. Like I would always treat the live audience, those are your winners. Like those are the ones that not, and like you said, some fans are just out of state. They have to be online. There's no other option. But the ones that are your live audience, those ones that those are the guys that went out of their way. Like they got in their car and they went to your venue and they paid the cover charge to watch you play. Like those are your fans. Those are the ones that you want to shake hands with. You want to give hugs. You want to say thank you, like show the gratitude, and then use the socials as discovery, you know? So like present your socials, and like, I don't know, like I'm horrible at it. Like I feel like I'm getting better at social content, but it's like, I keep thinking like, well, there needs to be several different like buckets, if you will. Like, so they need to be buckets for those that have never heard you before. They don't even know who you are. Yeah. You gotta describe who you are and what you do. And then you got the buckets of those who kind of seen you a few times in reels or whatever, and they're a little bit more in depth, if you will, of kind of your story. And then you have the deep divers, right? You have the ones that have been fans, they're subscribers or whatever, and those are the ones you can get really in the weeds with. And then just kind of rotate those content when you're making reels based on that, like focus, like, okay, I want to make a reel about what I'm doing or whatever. And sometimes it could be really repetitive. It could be the same song. You're just like, my name's Elena and I write pop music, and then just have your music in the background. It's something as simple as that. But yeah, and I've got to do that. Like, it's easy for me to sit over here and go, this is what you need to do. But like, I just do the same thing, It's just a matter of dialing it in. Like, for me, I wish there was like a cookie cutter stamp, like, okay, each release we're gonna do this, and this, and this, and then it's sometimes hard to timestamp, and like some sort of a process. Like, I'm thinking like an assembly line. Like, okay, a song goes out, and okay, now we got all this content we got to make. We got to make at least 50 reels. We got to do a lyric video. We got to do a visualizer. We got to do maybe even a music video. We got to do some sort of interview sort of thing. We got to do press photos and email pitching. Email pitching is huge, and for whatever reason, like, I'm just now, like, you just woke me up, Elena. Like, I got to do more of that. Like, we got to get more into that. So that is going to be a topic we discuss in our next rehearsal. So
it's definitely been my, like, savior right now, because like I said, the social stuff is just kind of going down, and like I'm very consistent. Like, well, okay, the streams have been getting less consistent since I started booking these shows, because I'm spending my time practicing for them instead of streaming, but I'm still doing a fair amount, just not every night anymore. But I post 3 TikToks and shorts, and usually also a full video, like, every single day. And I usually try to I usually try to follow a pattern. So what I try and do, because in my streams, and this is super helpful, but also you got to get lucky if it's a song that people want, actually like want to hear, because it saves clips from the stream. So I just save the clips to my draft. And so my first short is usually, or my first TikTok is usually a clip from my live stream, and then I do kind of like an unrelated one. So maybe like, here's what I got at this restaurant today, or just like, like something that's not really music related.
Or do an ice cream test with your boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
we're
that.
getting into the
Dubai
food
chocolate
game.
or whatever it was.
We
I
did
loved
Dubai
it.
chocolate test.
Yeah.
We did the, oh my god, this one is so fun. I haven't edited yet. I need to do it very soon, so it's like timely. But him and my dad did trying all the Lay's World Cup chip flavors and like chip showdown.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like doing just fun stuff like that.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, the last one's like a promo, so I'll either be like, this is my new song, or this is, come see our show, or this is our rehearsal clip, like meet my band, like stuff like that. That's more like promotion. So I feel like that's like, it's been nice. I think maybe what could help me is if I posted, instead of posting them all at once, if I did throughout the day. But the issue is I'm a very, like, with my tasks, I like to be really organized. So like, I'll plan out the day. I'm like, post the 3 TikToks from 10 to 10:30, and then do an hour of this, and like, so I like to be very scheduled out. So I don't want to like sprinkle them around. I like to have it like bam, 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 bam. So that like,
So
if you've got that OCD bug in you, you've got we use a platform called Patty Post.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, when we record an episode of the podcast, Zach does all the editing, all of the production end of things, and then once we have the promotional reels ready to go, I get a hold of them, and then I go through and I actually schedule out. Let's say we have 10 reels from an episode that we're going to post out. Well, I'm going to go through and usually ask something like ChatGPT to analyze like the optimized times on all of the different platforms that we post on, and I schedule it out, and then I build out a spreadsheet.
I know he sends me an email like, okay,
the
it's
reel,
gonna post on
platform,
this time
the time
and this time,
the date, the caption I'm going to have in there, and the hashtags that I'm going to add to that. And I go through and I get to and I schedule that, and I usually schedule out all of the social media posts in one sitting over like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it's like
they have some free ones too. They have like that. That's a one-time service fee for a lifetime. You just pay once and you own it for your life. There's another one called Content 360, but there's a one called OmniSend, I believe, and they allow you to do, I think, 3 accounts, and it's free for that. Nice. So if you're looking for a free version, you could look into that. But that might be a way where you can kind of like sit down at once and then just post. Like kind of bring it all up. Or, I know you can schedule ahead. Some posts, like, I know on YouTube you can schedule your posts when it goes.
Yeah, I was thinking that, because I remember I used to sometimes do that, where I'd, like, post a video in advance to come out at a certain time. And I just kind of forgot about it, and I've just been posting in real time, but that could definitely be helpful to have a like more consistent
Or-
timing wise
yeah.
too.
Or maybe a sum of it, like so half of your reels or half of your content is pretty scheduled and consistent, and then you save the spontaneous stuff that you do for just like, oh, I'm gonna post it now. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's gonna pretty much wrap up our segment there. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to the audience? Some thank yous, like your parents, your boyfriend, your producer. Any shout outs you want to give it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I'll shout out to my band because I am very grateful for, well, if hopefully we can get in a rehearsal tomorrow. So I'm really grateful that, you know, they're willing to put in the work even on short notice for these shows. And, you know, like we're sounding really good. So shout out to my band. And yes, a special shout out to my boyfriend for really stepping in. And like, I know that he's been passionate about the guitar, but just hadn't really been motivated to practice. And now this is like, you know,
A
he's
newfound
really,
fashion. Yeah. You
Yeah,
sparked
and
a fire in
definitely-
him. That's awesome.
yeah. And yeah, like you said, I would shout out my parents, and like my dad is definitely one of my biggest supporters, I can say. And my friend Brady, he was, we actually became friends through, he would watch my streams for a long time, and so he is really great. And Danny, my supporter, she's the one that had Irresistible a ton of times. And yeah, my producer, he is making some amazing stuff. He's helping me out with some of the stuff for the performance. He just made like a version of Irresistible with the outro, so shout out to Nick. Shout out to Double Nick, my bassist, Nick, my producer.
Yeah, the double.
there's
We
so
have
many
two
people.
mics. We have
Nick,
two
Nick,
mics
Nick,
in our
Nick,
band, and they
Nick,
both
Nick,
play
Nick.
drums. Yeah, they
Oh my
both.
gosh.
Yeah,
Here
one's a
we go.
That's so
percussionist and
funny.
one's the drummer. Yeah, it's confusing as all can be.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, and where can people find out about you? Like, where do you like to hang out
Well, usually
socially?
I'm most active on YouTube and TikTok. So most
What's your
things are
handles
just my
there?
name. So Elena Hirsch on YouTube and Facebook, which is basically just my Instagram, which automatically posts to Facebook.
Yeah,
And then Elena.Hirsch for Instagram, Elena Hirsch X on TikTok.
and I think that kind of wraps everything up. I think we're good. I wish you the best success.
Thank you so
And,
much.
I'm so excited that you got to open up for some big names, and I see big things happening.
Right. Well, I mean,
Thank
you just have you've got such a cool vibe about you. Like just the fact that, I mean, you know, you come off as somebody who knows what they want and is just going for it, and is you exude this confidence of who you are and where you're going and what you expect, you know, as your career progresses. I'm a little bit bummed that we didn't get the glitter eyes, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Next
that's
time.
all right. The glitter eyes. I wouldn't expect you to do that. Yeah, but
I just put a little shimmer.
All
yeah, I
right.
can see it. Yeah. My daughter, she's 12, and she's all about makeup now, and
Yeah.
so I'm always like, and it's funny because it's like 9:30 at night, and she'll come out of her room like, "How do I look?" I'm like, "Really?"
That's funny.
It's like it's time for bed, and you're
You
putting
look like
makeup
you're gonna
on.
go wash your
We're getting
face.
dressed for nighttime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I'm it looks good. It looks good. Like
Yeah.
I have
Still about
And
to
I-
go hit the club.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
I have to remind her, I'm like, you realize this is kind of hard for dad to see because you're not a little
Yeah.
girl anymore. You start looking like a woman. I'm like, it's hard for me,
Yeah.
but it looks good, you know, because she's more like her artistic. Like, how does it look? And I'm like, it looks fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
you've obviously been watching YouTube videos.
That's the great thing is that Zach and I can agonize over having our little girls, you know, heading into junior high school at the same time, and the struggle is real.
That is our time with the incredibly talented Elena Hirsch.
If you guys dug her story and her new music, make sure you follow her on Instagram and stream her tracks on all the DSPs.
We love doing these artist interviews because we get to see the real grind behind music.
And don't forget to jump over and watch our episode with Brianna for even more insight into the indie world.
Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our weekly drops.
Catch you on the flip side.